At 1 a.m., my daughter collapsed into my arms, bloody lip, one eye swelling shut. I'm a cop. I still wasn't ready for what came next. The porch light shook across the gravel like a nervous hand. Riverton nights are usually quiet, dry wind, distant trucks, a coyote once in a while. Not tonight. A fist hammered my front door, fast and uneven, like someone drowning. Mom, please open up. I threw the deadbolt. Lena fell forward before I could step back. She was 26 but felt weightless in my arms, the way fear makes a body smaller. Her lip was split. Her left eye was swelling. She held her stomach like she was trying to keep her insides from spilling out. I didn't ask questions. Not yet. I got her onto the couch and tucked a blanket over her. The air smelled like dust and metal, like the inside of a locked drawer. I grabbed a cool towel, pressed it to her mouth. Breathe, he said. In. Out. Stay with me. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table, again and again, like a hornet trapped under glass. The screen lit up with a name I already hated, Eric. My son-in-law. Missed calls. Then a text flashed across. Don't open your mouth if you want to keep everything. Lena saw me read it. She shook her head, eyes shining. Mom, please don't call him. It makes it worse. I wanted rage. I chose procedure. I reached for the hallway peg where my uniform hung, pressed and ready. 20 years as a patrol sergeant in a town that runs on rumors and favors. Tonight, the uniform wasn't for show. It was a line I was drawing in my own house. Listen to me, I said, calm and steady. You're safe. We're going to the ER. We're creating a record, a paper trail he can't erase. Her shoulders loosened just enough to nod. I called ahead. Dr. Patel, it's Pat. I'm bringing my daughter. Facial injuries, abdominal pain. Please be ready. We didn't have my car. Shop kept it overnight, so I ordered a cab. While we waited, I packed a small bag, ID, water, backup phone battery, a folder I label evidence in plain black marker. I took photos, her face, her hands, the way she held her side. Timestamps on. Upload set to auto backup. No gaps. No mistakes. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. The cab's headlights cut through the yard. I kept Lena close as we slid into the back seat. The driver glanced in the mirror, then looked away. Good. No questions. At Riverton General, fluorescent lights painted everything too bright. Dr. Annika Patel met us at the door, quick eyes taking in more than I said. She guided us to a room. Nurses checked vitals, lifted Lena's shirt, and stopped at the deep purple bloom across her ribs. Orders went in. X-rays, CT labs. Machines hummed like low thunder. Any falls? Dr. Patel asked gently. Lena stared at the wall. I answered what I could. No reported fall. Blunt force, likely. She's afraid. Dr. Patel nodded, switched to the voice she uses for hard nights. Calm, exact. We'll document everything. Photos, notes, copies for you. While Lena went for scans, I stepped into the hall and called the night charge nurse. Please flag the file. I'll need printed summaries and imaging reports. Full set. My voice didn't shake. My hands did. The phone in my pocket buzzed. A new message from Eric. You think your badge can save her? Think again. I screenshotted it, backed it up, forwarded it to my evidence folder. When Lena returned, she took my hand. He said I made him do it. Because of her. Who's her? I asked. She swallowed. Tara, the woman from his shop. He said if I kept quiet, we'd keep the land Grandpa left. My father's land, Lena's name on the deed. For years it sat outside town, scrub and mesquite and a promise. If Eric was using it as leverage, this was bigger than bruises. I squeezed my daughter's hand. Okay, then we follow the paper. If he used a threat tied to property somewhere, there's a trail. The ER printer started spitting out pages. The trail had already begun. By sunrise, Lena had a folder with her name on every page. Dr. Patel walked me through the scans. No internal bleeding, she said, but deep tissue bruising. I've added notes on pattern and size. She paused. Pat, I'm sorry. I thanked her, took the printed summaries and signed for the photo log. I asked for one last detail, time-stamped imaging IDs on the discharge sheet. She understood why. Outside, the sky was pink and quiet. I kept my voice low. We're not going back to my house. I texted my neighbor, Mrs. Dolores Park. Can Lena stay with you a day or two? Dolores replied before I could blink, yes. Now, I'm home. Dolores met us on her porch with a kettle and a stare that could cut rope. She looked at Lena with a mother's softness, then at me with a fighter's grit. I heard something last night, she said. I thought it was coyotes. She pulled out her phone. My porch cam caught your door at 1:02 a.m. Do you want the clip? We watched it together. The low frame showed a shadow, my daughter, with her hand on her ribs, knocking, then stumbling into my arms. Lena closed her eyes, but I kept mine open. I needed every second, every pixel. I saved the file to an encrypted drive and backed it up to a cloud folder I keep for cases. Dolores squeezed my hand. Say the word. I'll testify. I set up a simple plan. Lena in Dolores's guest room. Shades drawn. A car across the street she could use if needed. I gave Dolores 2 numbers, mine and a direct line at the station. If anyone asks for Lena, I said, you don't know where she is. She nodded. We both knew small towns talk. We just didn't know who was listening. Back home, I laid the medical photos, the summaries, and the porch video in a neat stack labeled evidence. I took a breath, then dialed Captain Joel Ramirez. I need extra patrols on Hidalgo Street and by Dolores Park's place, I said. Quiet ones. He didn't ask for drama. He asked for facts. I gave them. I'll cover you, he said. Document everything. The phone on my table buzzed again. Eric. Another message. You lied to her. You can't protect her forever. Screenshot. Backup. Logged. At noon, my friend at County Records called from a number I didn't recognize. Pat, it's Caleb. Your name's just hit my desk on a land transfer. My stomach dropped once, clean and hard. Read me the recipient. He hesitated. Tara Quinn. He swallowed. The notary stamp is wrong. The date too. And Pat, your signature looks like someone copied it with their eyes closed. I was already grabbing my keys. Caleb, I need certified copies. Every page. And I need the notary log from that day. He lowered his voice. I'll pull it, but be careful. Somebody helped push this through. The county building smelled like paper and lemon cleaner. Caleb slid the folder across the counter without meeting my eyes. I didn't sit. I scanned each page. The deed showed Lena's name scratched out and transferred to Tara. The notary stamp was off by a digit. The clerk ID was mismatched. The signatures were crooked, the way a lie tilts when it tries to stand like the truth. Print the log, I said. He did. No notary on duty at the time listed. A hole so wide you could fall through it. I stepped outside and dialed Lena. Did you ever sign anything with Eric about the land? She exhaled. He waved papers at me last week. Said it was for taxes. I refused. He got loud. Her voice shook. He said Tara deserved a new start more than I did. I closed my eyes for 1 second. Then I opened them and took another photo. The forged deed, date visible, my finger pointing at the wrong stamp. When I reached my porch, an unmarked envelope waited under the mat. No address. No stamp. I opened it with my pocket knife. Inside was a single slip of paper. Shut up or you'll lose your daughter. Thick black ink, pressed hard, like anger wanted to tear the page. I slid the note into a new sleeve, labeled it, and logged the time. Then I powered up my spare laptop and started a timeline. 1:02 a.m. Lena arrives, porch cam, file name plus checksum. 1:30 to 4:15 a.m. ER intake, photos, scans, discharge, report IDs. 12:05 p.m. County records alert, Caleb call. 1:10 p.m. Forged deed copies obtained. Stamp mismatch, no notary on duty. 1:42 p.m. Threat note discovered at residence, bagged, logged. I stared at the board. For lines, for anchors. The next move had to be careful. Confront Eric too soon, he hides or burns the trail. Wait too long, he makes a bigger move. I looked at the name on the deed again. Tara Quinn. The mistress. The promise. The leverage. If Tara signed anything, she was either a partner or a witness with regrets. I picked up my keys, locked the door, and told myself the rule that keeps you alive when the ground is sliding. Follow the paper, not the noise. And then I headed toward the place where Eric held court and Tara sometimes smiled without her eyes, the pawn shop at the edge of town. Malloy Trading Post sat where the highway lost interest in our town. Faded flags, barred windows, a neon sign that worked when it felt like it. A bell over the door clanged as I walked in. Two men leaned on a glass case of pawned rings and rusted tools. They watched me like I'd walked into their living room. One smirked. Afternoon, Sergeant. Looking to sell or buy? Neither, I said. Where's Eric? He was in the back office, counting bills with the door half open. He looked up slow, like he had all the time in the world. Pat, he said, voice smooth. To what do I owe the honor? I didn't sit. I didn't touch his desk. I set one thin envelope down, 2 photos, and the ER summary. Not the whole case. Not yet. He glanced, barely. She bruises easy, he said. Accidents happen. Not like that, I said. Not with that pattern. And not with a threat tied to a deed. He blinked once. The word deed hung in the air like a smell. He leaned back, laced his fingers. You going to arrest me for paperwork, Sergeant? Not today, I said. Today I'm here to tell you 2 things. First, Lena is safe. Second, anything you put on paper will meet a judge. You think your badge makes you tall. His smile was small and mean. Badges bend. Favor bends them faster. I thought of Caleb's whisper. Somebody helped push this through. I let the silence sit until he had to fill it. He tapped the envelope. If you want to play court, bring your pieces. But I have more. Good, I said. Court's like paper. I took the envelope back. I'll see you in 1. On my way out, one of his buddies stepped aside and murmured near my shoulder. Careful, Sergeant. Folks don't like it when family business goes public. I didn't answer. I wanted his face in my memory, not his voice in my ear. Outside, heat came off the parking lot in waves. A gray sedan idled across the street with the engine on and the driver's hat pulled low. I angled my phone like I was checking a message and caught a shot of the plate. Then I walked to my car without hurrying. If they wanted me to feel watched, they'd have to try harder. Back at the house, the unmarked envelope sat on my table in its plastic sleeve, a patient warning. I added a new line to the timeline. 2:35 p.m. Pawn shop contact. Eric notified. Limited exhibit shown. 2:52 p.m. Gray sedan observed tailing. Plate logged. I texted Captain Ramirez the plate number. Asked for a quiet run. He replied, OTC rental. Cash. The kind of car people use when they plan to disappear or sit very still. I drove to Dolores's at dusk. She met me on the porch with that same kettle, steam curling like a question. He hasn't been by, she said, but someone sat in a car up the block for an hour. Didn't move. I glanced at Lena's window. Shades closed, a thin line of light at the edge. We'll move her tonight, I said. Not far, just enough to make the watchers guess. Before I left, I asked Dolores, ever see a woman around the shop, late 20s, red lipstick, looks like she made a bad decision and kept making it? Dolores frowned, then nodded. Tara, she said. I've seen her at the Silver Spur, Thursday nights. She dances with men and watches the door. The Silver Spur sat at the far end of Hidalgo Street, where the neon signs blinked slower than the ceiling fans. I went in under a cap and an old jacket, the kind that doesn't look like a uniform but still reads authority if you stand straight. The bar smelled like citrus cleaner and last week's secrets. I took a corner booth with a view of the door and waited. The band tuned, a couple argued soft. A barback dragged a crate like a body. At 9:58 she walked in. Red dress, dark lips, pretty in the way trouble tries to be. She laughed at something the bartender said, but her eyes didn't join in. I didn't wave her over. I slid an envelope to the edge of the table as she passed to the restroom. "For Tara," I said just loud enough. "From someone who knows about the deed." She stopped. Tiny pause. She took the envelope like it had been meant for her all along and kept moving. When she came back, she sat across from me without asking. "Who are you?" she asked. "Someone Eric lied to. Same as you." I kept my hands open, my voice low. "He promised you a piece of land. He tried to take it with a forged stamp. The notary never worked that day. The clerk log proves it." Her fingers tightened on the envelope. "He said it was all clean." A tiny laugh that wasn't a laugh. He said she'd never fight, that she'd keep her mouth shut if she wanted to keep her life easy. "Lena isn't easy," I said. "She's brave, and she's done being quiet." Tara looked at the stage, at the band pretending to be ready. "If I talk, he'll do worse. He's got friends." "Friends retire," I said. "Paper doesn't." She breathed out through her nose sharp. "What do you want?" "A statement. The truth. What he asked you to sign, what he promised, who stamped it, who pushed it through." "And you keep me alive?" Her eyes were wet without tears. "You keep him from finding me?" "I'll ask a judge for protection. I'll ask my captain for safe lodging. But I can't promise what I don't control. What I can promise is this. The more you put in writing, the less he can rewrite." She stared at the envelope. The room felt smaller. The band started a slow song no one wanted. Her phone lit up on the table. "Eric." The name burned. "Don't answer," I said. She didn't. She turned the phone face down, like she was closing a door. "Meet me at Marcus Hale's office tomorrow," I said. 10 a.m. He's a lawyer who believes in paper more than talk. She nodded once. "If I don't show." "Then I'll bring the paper to you," I said. "And to a judge." She stood. "He'll know I met someone." She looked at the door like it might bite. "He always knows." I followed her gaze. In the doorway, under that slow, broken neon, a man stepped in from the street. Not Eric, but one of the men from the pawn shop, the smirking one, now without a smirk. He scanned the room. His eyes passed over me, then landed on Tara. He started walking. He moved like a man who had already decided how the night would end. Shoulders squared, eyes dead calm. I slid my phone under the table, hit record, and kept my voice steady. "Tara," I said softly, bathroom. "Now." She didn't argue. She stood and walked, slow and pretty like nothing was wrong. The man adjusted course to cut her off. I stood up into his path. "Excuse me," I said. He smiled the way a knife might. "Sergeant." So he did know me. "We're close to trouble," the bartender called, not looking up. He knew the type, too. The man leaned near enough to smell the stale smoke on his jacket. "Your daughter's mother-in-law playing bodyguard now," he said. "Cute." I kept my hands open, my stance easy. "Walk away," I said. "Or sit, but don't follow her." I tipped my chin to the ceiling camera. "You don't want to be the face on that." He glanced up, one beat, too. His smile thinned. He angled past me anyway. The bar back dropped a crate by the bathroom door loud. Tara slipped behind him, pushed through the back exit into the alley. I stepped left to block one more second. The man brushed my shoulder. "You can't watch everyone," he whispered. "That's why I use paper," I said. "Paper watches back." He pushed through the exit. I counted to 3 and followed. The alley smelled like wet cardboard and lemon cleaner. Tara stood in the shadow of the dumpster, phone clutched white. The man was 10 steps away and closing. Silver Spur's no place for chases, I said, voice low but carrying. Back door camera has audio. You want your boss to explain you to a judge tomorrow. He paused, turned his head just enough to let me see the calculation. Behind him, at the mouth of the alley, a gray sedan idled. Same brimmed hat, same stillness. I lifted my phone and snapped a photo, plate and all. He frowned. Tell Eric, I said, that we like daylight better. The man lifted his hands like he was surrendering to boredom. Enjoy your night, he said, and walked to the sedan. It rolled away without a headlight flash. I exhaled. Tara's breath shook. He never runs, she said. Not unless there's something bigger planned. Then we plan bigger, I said. We go now. I drove Tara to a well-lit motel near the station. I paid cash. I took the room next to hers and wedged a chair under each door handle. Then I called Captain Ramirez. I need a quiet unit outside this address until sunrise, I said, and I want an emergency hearing for a temporary order, first thing. You'll have the unit, he said. Get me a sworn statement before dawn. Tara stared at the blank TV screen, like it might start speaking. He promised me that land, she said, voice flat with tired. He said it was clean. He said Lena didn't deserve it. He lied to both of you, I said. Let's put that in writing. I opened my laptop. We recorded a clear, simple statement. What Eric promised, what papers he waived, who was in the room, who stamped what, which clerk he named. I read each line back. Tara signed. I scanned and backed it up to 3 places. I time-stamped the audio file and the PDF. Then I sent both to Marcus Hale with 1 line, affidavit attached. Motion at 9 o'clock. At 2:11 a.m., my phone lit up. Caleb from County Records. Pat. Someone just tried to correct the deed entry in the system. New notary name. Different stamp. Submission bounced for review. I called him. Pull the attempt, I said. Print the metadata. IP timestamp clerk initials. On it, he said. Pat, whoever did this knew where to click. I added it to the timeline. 2:11 a.m. Attempted deed correction. Bounced. Metadata requested. I walked the motel hallway once, slow listening. The night unit parked 2 doors down, anonymous, exactly as ordered. When I returned, Tara had finally fallen asleep with the TV on mute. I stood in the doorway a long minute. The quiet had a sound, a tight wire between 2 anchors. At 7:45 a.m., we were at Marcus's office. He looked like sleep had been a rumor, tie straight anyway. We spread the pieces across the oak table. AR photos, porch camera clip, threat note, forged deed, Tara's affidavit, and now Caleb's bounce report. Marcus tapped each item like he was nailing it to the wood. Exhibit A through E, he said. We'll add the attempted correction as F. We'll ask for a temporary protective order for Lena and Tara, a property injunction, and a forensic review of clerk activity. And a no contact for me, I said. He's testing lines. Marcus nodded, already writing. A rock hit the front window, hard. Glass starred white. We all ducked. The second rock cracked the top pane. Marcus sprinted to the door. I was there first. On the sidewalk, a man in a hoodie jogged to a car and jumped in. He turned his head just enough for me to catch the jawline and the lazy tilt. The smirker from the pawn shop. I snapped 3 photos in a row. The car peeled out. A neighbor pointed after it, phone in hand. I got the plate, he shouted. And a video. Email it to this address, I said, handing a card. My hands were calm again. My pulse was not. We bagged the rock. On its face, black marker in block letters. N.O. Court. I texted Ramirez. Escalation. Vandalism at council's office. Plate to follow. Then I added a new line to the timeline. 8:06 a.m. Threat/vandalism at Marcus's office. Rock with message. Suspect ID'd. Video captured. Marcus locked the door, flipped the sign, and finished the motion like nothing had happened. That's what experience looks like. Move the pen while the glass settles. We were ready to file when my phone vibrated again. Unknown number. I opened the message. A photo filled the screen, shot through a narrow gap in a window shade. Dolores's living room. My daughter's backpack on the chair. We see you. I was already moving. We file, then we move Lena now, I said. No detours. Marcus nodded, gathered the exhibits. Tara insisted on coming. If I hide, he wins, she said. Her voice was steady, new iron under it. We drove to the courthouse in silence. The parking lot was already busy. Morning heat rose off the asphalt like a warning. Inside, the clerk stamped our filing. Emergency docket 10:30, she said. Judge Keaton. I texted Ramirez. Need pickup for Lena from Dolores's. Quiet route. Bring her to safe lodging B. His reply came fast, already en route. 2 units. I let myself breathe for 1 second. The second ended when a message flashed from a blocked number. Tick-tock, Sergeant. Let's see if paper runs as fast as we do. I looked up at the courthouse clock. The minute hand crawled. Outside, somewhere between a neighbor's porch and a safe room, a car was moving through Riverton with my daughter inside, or aiming to get there first. We had 2 hours to prove the law could run, and the law in my town often needed a push. At 9:11 a.m., Ramirez texted, "Pickup in motion. 2 units. 1 decoy." At 9:13, a second text. Gray sedan spotted 3 cars back. I added both lines to the timeline in my head. Paper steadies hands. Time sharpens eyes. We filed the motion and walked into the courthouse hallway. Tara kept her chin up, the red of last night replaced by a plain jacket and a small, stubborn set to her mouth. Marcus spoke low and fast. We win the orders, we freeze the land, we compel records from county IT, and we push for a warrant on witness intimidation. If the judge wants more, Tara's affidavit carries the room. My phone buzzed again, Dolores this time. They're moving. I watched from the kitchen. 2 cars left. 1 stayed. Good, I wrote. Lock doors. Call if anyone knocks. A typing bubble. Then, proud of Lena, at 9:27, the decoy unit peeled off toward the highway. The tail followed. Ramirez sent a photo, dash cam frame. The same brimmed hat, the same lazy posture, now glued to the wrong bumper. Hooked, he wrote. At 9:49, the real unit slid behind the courthouse and eased Lena into safe lodging B through a side entrance, only staff use. She walked under a ball cap and oversized hoodie, one hand in a pocket, the other on a strap. She didn't see me. She didn't need to. I saw the officer behind her, palm open, a little to the left, just enough to catch a fall that didn't happen. At 10:07, Caleb's email hit my inbox, metadata pulled. Deed correction came from an IP leased to Malaloy Trading Post. Timestamp matches your 2:11 a.m. note. Also, clerk credentials used were v.ames/assist. Ames, Eric's attorney, his initials on the back door. A sloppy arrogance I could use. Judge will like that, Marcus said, reading over my shoulder. Chain of custody, misuse of credentials, attempted alteration. It's a staircase. We were called at 10:31. The courtroom air had the thick hush that comes before weather changes. Judge Keaton took the bench, glasses low, eyebrows up. Marcus stood, hands flat on the table like he was feeling for current. Your Honor, he began, we bring sworn evidence of assault, a documented threat tied to property, an attempted deed forgery, a retaliatory vandalism incident this morning, and a digital trail from the defendant's business trying to alter county records at 2:11 a.m. He walked the exhibits in with no music, just the order that makes music of its own. A through F ER photos. Porch camera. Threat note. Forged deed. Tara's affidavit. County IT metadata. The rock from this morning sat inside a clear bag on the clerk's table. The words NO Court staring at the judge like a dare. Dr. Patel's notes, the timestamps, the logs, each detail clicked into place. When Tara took the stand, her voice shook for the first sentence, then steadied. He said the land was hers on paper, but his in real life. He said all she had to do was stop talking. She looked at me, then at her hands. He lied. In the gallery, a door eased open. The smirker stepped in, hoodie down now, hair slicked like a confession. A deputy shifted. I didn't turn all the way. I didn't need to. I knew his walk. Marcus closed. This is not rumor, Your Honor. This is record. Eric's lawyer, Ames, rose to counter, but even his voice had lost its shape. He called it domestic friction, tried misunderstanding, floated clerical error. The room held still. Paper held firmer. Judge Keaton removed his glasses, polished them, and read. Temporary protective orders granted for Lena Calder and witness Tara Quinn. No contact by any means. Property injunction granted. Any transfer involving the Calder parcel is void and frozen pending further hearing. The court orders a forensic review of county records access and refers the apparent misuse of credentials to the district attorney. Based on exhibits A through F, I further find probable cause for the offenses of domestic violence, forgery, and witness intimidation. Warrants to issue forthwith. His gavel sounded like a metal bar dropped on a shop floor. 2 deputies moved. The smirker lifted his hands like he was stretching and found cuffs instead. He laughed once, a soft, wrong sound. It stopped when the deputy tightened the ratchet. A deputy leaned to the judge. Defendant's location? Pawn shop, I said. He likes the back office at lunch. The judge nodded. Execute. At 11:12, Ramirez texted a photo. The pawn shop door open, the battered desk in the background. A map of our county pinned crooked on the wall. In the foreground, Eric, hands behind him, jaw set hard enough to crack a tooth. On the desk beside his elbow, a blank deed and notary stamp kit, and a stack of cash tied with a rubber band like a cheap promise. In custody, Ramirez wrote. Stamp kit seized. Burner with Dolores photo recovered from smirker. The charge list began to grow. Domestic violence, fraud, attempted alteration of public record, vandalism, stalking, witness intimidation, conspiracy. Paper reached for handcuffs and found them. We walked Tara to safe lodging B. On the way, she stopped under a mesquite tree and just breathed. It's not over, she said, but it moved. It moved, I said, and it's moving in a direction. That night, Lena slept in a bed with a bolt on the inside and a camera in the hall. She woke twice, checked the door both times, and went back to sleep quicker than the night before. Progress is a small thing until it isn't. In the weeks that followed, the town did what towns do, talked. Some people said too much. Some crossed the street to hug me in public and made it longer than it needed to be. I let the words pass like trucks on the highway. We had better noise now. The clack of a court clerk's stamp, the steady hum of a printer, the court dates pinned to a calendar like small flags in ground we'd earned. Lena kept meeting with Dr. Winters. She practiced the grounding count when panic rose. 5 things she could see, 4 she could touch, 3 she could hear, 2 she could smell, 1 she could name and let go. One morning, I found her in the kitchen stirring coffee and humming a song she used to sing off-key in the car. I didn't say anything. I just stood there and listened. On my dining table, I kept the timeline, now thick with lines and check marks. Orders granted. Warrants served. Property restored. Clerk audit in progress. One last thing, small but not small. I added a line under the earliest entries. She knocked. We answered with record. That's what I want you to carry. If any of this sounds like your life in another house on another street, truth is heavy when you hold it alone. Put it on paper. Let it share the weight. Let it stand in rooms where your voice shakes. Let it move the minute hand on a courthouse clock. Because noise fades, paper stays. And sometimes, when the timing is right and the room is ready, paper learns to speak louder than the men who think it can't.